Actually, now we come to the highlight of today's program. And I think it's fair to say that despite the distinguished speakers that we've just heard and the ones to follow, the 10 entrepreneurs that you're about to hear are very much the stars of today's event. Before they start coming up, let me say a few words about the Combating Terrorism Technology Startup Challenge, the program that brings them here in the process that they've gone through to get here. Basically, the program's designed around the goal of addressing the opportunity and the threat of that the exponential improvements in technology bring to the counterterrorism world. The opportunity is that as technology every year becomes literally exponentially more powerful and less costly than the year before, it enables the development of tools for combating terrorism that were perhaps considered science fiction just a couple of years earlier. The threat, of course, is that the terrorists generally have access to these same technologies, which are often consumer technologies. So what all of this means is that the counterterrorism community needs to become, or increasingly quicker and more effective at integrating and exploiting new technologies. And since nobody is quicker and more effective at integrating new technologies than Israeli startups, the first aspect of the CTTC concept is leveraging the hyper-creativity and agility of the Israeli startup community. As Deputy Minister Oren said on several times, another thing that characterizes Israel, besides for its extensive startup ecosystem, is unfortunately the depth of experience with, with terrorism. And what that means is that many Israelis, and therefore many Israeli technologists and entrepreneurs, have extensive experience with terrorism. And so the next piece of the CTTSC concept is leveraging the very widespread security expertise that we have in this small country. Being an entrepreneur or a startup in this domain is tough. It's not the defense and security industries are not traditionally conducive to startups. And many wonderful technologies that address super important needs have ended up floundering before they really got out of the blocks. And so the third piece of the concept is leveraging the capabilities and the resources of the US and Israeli governments to help these startups get from the proof of concept and into the hands of the users who actually need them. And putting these three pieces together, the idea brings us to the rapid development and integration of new technologies into combating terrorism breakthroughs. So that's basically the high-level goals of the program. The way it works is pretty straightforward. We put out a call to the startup community and the university research communities for technologies that are or could be relevant against terrorism. Now, combating terrorism can be anything from detecting and preventing terrorists in the first place all the way through treating the victims of terror and everything in between. And this year we put out the call in January and got 210 diamonds in the rough proposals. I should mention that this is double the number that we got in CTTSC2 and 5 times the number we got in CTTSC1 back in 2015. So the trend seems to be going in the right direction. These entries go through a three-stage screening process. Stage one happened in February and March, where a panel of 55 experts from the US Department of Defense, the Israel Ministry of Defense, the Homeland Security organizations of both nations reviewed the 210 applications and selected a smaller number for more detailed analysis, including in-person interviews and questionnaires and a real due diligence process. Coming out of that were 23 finalists who were announced in the middle of May, 10 on the general technology side and 13 in a special track of urban navigation technologies. Urban navigation meaning technologies for helping law enforcement, first responders, soldiers navigate inside buildings or other situations where there's no GPS. And we have a special track that you'll be seeing more of later in the day for those technologies. The third part of the process happens for the general technologies today, which is two of the 10 finalists have spent the last month working with the judging panel and going through additional due diligence, and today they'll be coming up here to give one final pitch, after which the judges will select one of them for the $100,000 first prize and the other for the $10,000 second prize. The urban navigation track is a little bit different. Some of the finalists will be showing us their stuff later in the afternoon, but actually their finals happens in October, when they'll be coming back to Israel to demonstrate their technologies in a urban setting, and the awards will be based on their performance there. So that's pretty much the process that took us from 6 months ago, 210 entries, down to the 10 that you'll be meeting today. One thing that I should mention is that the prizes are obviously, as a startup, it's great to get $100,000, but that's a relatively small piece of the story. The exposure that all of the 210 entries have already had to the US and Israeli governments is actually more important, and some of the first round entries are already in discussions with various potential sponsors and customers in the two governments, based on their entering this contest. So it's one very important piece of the story. A final note, in case you were thinking that now you get to sit back, relax and watch the finalists and judges do all the work, that's not exactly the case. In your bags, you have a card that looks like this, and we've got a job for you to do with it. On the left-hand column are the names of the 10 general technologies startups who will shortly be presenting here. And on the two right-hand columns, you are to please put a check in one of them for one company in each column, and then drop your card in boxes that will be set up on the way to the coffee break. In the middle column, you mark off the company that you are most impressed with personally. That if you had to invest your own money, this is the one you would put it on. In the right-hand column, you please guess who everybody else is going to vote for. Now, that may be the same company or it may not. You may think that Third Eye is the absolute best company you've ever seen, but you think that the cardio scale presenter is much better looking, and so probably everybody will vote for him. I said that without really looking at you guys, right? So in that case, you would put mark Third Eye in the first column, cardio scale in the second. We will count up the votes. the winner of the company that gets the most votes, which by the way has no influence on the decision of the judges. It's purely an audience favorite poll. The company that gets the most votes will get a very, very valuable prize that will be announced later in the day. The kind of prize that a startup will be very excited about. One person who correctly guesses which company wins the popular vote will be pulled from a hat and will get dinner for two at the new Avi Biton restaurant in Tel Aviv. One thing just to mention is to be eligible for the prize, you have to be in the room when the cards are pulled out of the hat. So if for some reason you have to leave at lunch or before the end of the day, give your card to someone else to fill in, not to collect your dinner ticket. With that, let me turn it over to our first startup, which is Lior.
Hey, Gidon, how are you?
Okay, best of luck.
I think I need that. Well, Gidon's right. Third Eye should be the first company that you vote to win for. Okay, thank you. I just need the presentation. So while we're standing here, I'm from Third Eye Systems. My name is Lior Penn, and I'm VP Sales. At Third Eye Systems, what we're doing is we're creating robots that are made autonomous for drones. So to do so, we've created a fused machine vision algorithm, and it works like this. For the past 8 years, we've created a vast database of over 1 million samples of segmented thermal information. We've taken that database and we've created two analytics algorithms, one that deals with the thermal object recognition and the second that deals with the pattern recognition. And we've combined that into AI, which lets us do on-the-fly object recognition. I'll show you a quick video to see what that looks like. So we can track multiple targets from a thermal image. The system has automatic scanning, so it will automatically scan the area for you. Once it makes a detection, it will stop and focus on that detection. It will track it as long as you want it to track it. And the big benefit about the system that it really lets the operator, if there is one, it reduces the cognitive stress on them because it points out targets for them on a very clear and easy way on the image itself. So what are these capabilities? How does that affect us? So our detection is done in a single frame, which lets us do very fast flying over a specific area. Everything runs on board, which means it's very fast response and lets us do all the tracking from the drone itself while in flight. We run a very lean algorithm, less than 3 watts of power usage. So that means we don't take a lot of power from the drone itself. That means we can fly more and need less drones to cover a specific area. Our system is a very fast learner. As I mentioned, we built that database for the past 8 years. And now we're at a point that if we need to teach it a new capability, we can do it in a very short period of time. We just added a new capability to the system in less than 3 weeks. And this is artificial intelligence powered, which means the drone is completely autonomous. It does the missions by itself without any need for an operator or a pair of eyes looking at what it's doing. So what can this be used for? for the classic fire detection and monitoring, drone detection or kites, as we've just seen, vehicle detection and human detection. So this is another example of the flow of the artificial intelligence process. Our drone scans an area and detects an anti-tank ambush. We know we have forces out in the field. We have infantry on the ground, and we have sniper units. The system will automatically close the loop between the most relevant capabilities that we have in the field. So the sniper unit will let it know that there is an anti-tank ambush waiting, and they'll take care of it. In case we had a tank in the area and we knew about it, we'll notify the tank that there's an anti-tank unit, and they can take care of it by themselves. And we have to remember that we saw this great quote that the US military will have more robot soldiers on the battlefield than real ones by 2025. Our system lets them do exactly that. So this is an example of our application layer, which turns info into insight. So here you can see we got target acquisition and prioritization. The drone itself is on the map. You can see where it's scanning, where it's looking at. Geographical situational awareness is something very important for drone operators. Targets are placed on the map by itself. Automatic alerts, automatic flows that I just mentioned. Results in BDA analysis after an attack. You want to see what happened. Scanning and heat map to know where the drone is scanned and what you're looking at. A quick overview of the autonomous drone market of today is the level 1 that people talk about, the autonomy of flight and the autonomy of takeoff and landing. The more advanced companies, when they do autonomy, they do autonomy of maintenance, what we call. Changing cameras, charging batteries. But what we're dealing with is we're dealing with a third level, which is the autonomy of the mission itself, which gives us artificial intelligence control and full capabilities of autonomous drones. So just to quick sum this up, so this is a game changer in the way of drone applications in the field. We create autonomous drones with on-the-fly AI-based thermal capabilities, combined with target classification and process management, enables scalable autonomous drone solutions. Once we needed to have drones for an operator for every drone you had in the field. Now you can have hundreds of drones operated by one. Thank you very much.
Before our next speaker, a quick announcement. Turns out I lied. You don't have any cards for dinner in your bags. Those are going to be handed out by people coming down the rows shortly. So please take one and pass the others along. Okay. Good luck.
תודה רבה. בוקר טוב. Good morning, everyone. My name is Maoz. I'm co-founder at Cardioscale, an ex-major in the Israeli Defense Forces. And according to Gideon, I'm the good-looking one that you should vote for. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, this is how terror actually looks like. Take a good look at the picture. It was taking 2 minutes after 2 bombs detonated, killing 3, injuring hundreds at the Boston Marathon in 2013. I could have used any other picture from all around the world. As you know, terror strikes, and no one is immune to it. Now, please imagine that you are a caregiver or a first responder at the scene of the terror attack, arriving at the scene 2 minutes after those 2 bombs detonated. It's chaotic. Destruction surrounds you. People are shouting, crying for help. You see blood everywhere. You see injuries. You understand that some of them are going to die. And the most important thing now is to save those who can be saved. I give you your inevitable dilemma. Who would you treat first? Who is the one injury on the side that if you won't take care of him immediately, will end up dead? How do you even start doing this? Now, let me make it clear, this is not your regular triage. You are not at the comfort of your own facility. You cannot use all the devices that you have. You won't be able to go from one patient to another. You have to make quick decisions, and any decision you take will affect not only the one person that you are taking care of, but all the rest. And mistakes might cost someone his life. And that's sure. Lives of casualties are lost due to misprioritization, to medical treatment, and to evacuation in a multi-chaotic, multi-casualty site. What you need is a prioritizer. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is our invention. It's called the CVRI, which is the Cardiovascular Reserve Index. And it's a real-time prioritization. What we actually do is we measure the casualties on the site, getting a clear state and trend of his hemodynamic situation. We then predict his deterioration. While doing so, we actually predict the deterioration of all casualties on site, enabling prioritization of all casualties. Now you're probably asking yourself, how are we doing this? It's done with the use of our novel medical algorithm. It's actually an outcome of a medical and engineering cooperation. It's based on control theories, where we are trying to assess the overall cardiovascular system, unlike other vital sign measurements, which today are only looking at one or two components within the system. The CVRI has been tested with more than 1,000 study cases in the last few years. All cases were studied within 5 clinical studies. 2 of them were done by a third party. One was done by the IDF, and the other one was done by Heller Institute. All of them were published with excellent result in peer-reviewed medical journals. In 2017, we received our first granted patent, and I mean granted patent, not registered, not PCT. Our first granted patent in the United States, and we today have 4 of them all around the world. Remember them? Those were the casualties that you arrived to the scene and saw that are injured. If you would have a CVRI device with you, this is what it would tell you. It would tell you to take care immediately and evacuate the lady in the red blouse, whereas the man in the black jacket should be monitored and go to treatment on the second batch. It would also recommend you that the lady in the red blouse should go to the nearest hospital, Hospital A, whereas black jacket man can go to a further hospital, and the yellow jacket man can stay on site and still get medical treatment there. We've decided to take the CVRI into the field, where it's most efficient and can save most lives. The DTR8 is a field-use monitor device, full monitor, hospital grade, with push-to-start mechanism in 60 seconds to a result. It's light, less than 900 grams, and it's 16 millimeters over 13 centimeters. 16 centimeters over 13 centimeters. It has a 6 AA batteries to support all the vital signs that it shows, including the CVRI. This is a study done by the IDF to show you prediction of deterioration. On the side, you will see the cardiac output, which is considered to be a golden rule today. But see what it actually means. If a patient coming to the hospital and Dr. House is shouting, "What's his cardiac output?" and you tell him, "Well, it's 3. What does it mean? Is he alive and happy, or is he just about to crash?" Now look at the CVRI. If a patient comes to the hospital and Dr. House asks, "What's his CVRI?" and you say, "His CVRI is 0.6, he knows for sure that he's deteriorating and is about to crash, and therefore he needs to be treated. The Army has published this study saying that the CVRI is a promising potential predict measure of hemorrhage-related hemodynamic deterioration in January 2017. For us, in cardioscale, combating terror is actually saving lives by prioritization, medical treatment, and evacuation. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, you're not as good looking as he is, so you brought a prop, eh?
Of course. It's terrible.
better. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Joseph, CEO of Colugo. And Colugo is all about a new generation of drone. It's a combination of advantages. In one hand, we took drones able to vertical takeoff and landing, hover, and very easy to operate. In the other hand, we have fixed-wing aircraft flying long distance, long endurance, and can carry significant payload. And together, we get Colugo. We have an electric drone able to fly 150 kilometers in range. It's more than 2.5 hours of endurance, unlike all the other 30-minute drones. We have an airplane that can VTOL, so no more runways, no more launchers, no parachutes. Our autonomous VTOL system can land accurately at 55 kilometers per hour wind speed into docking station. This is unmanned by all means. We are not the first to try. Many have tried different wing combination to achieve a better performance. Google tried to VTOL with the Tailsitter. Amazon tried with the Prime Air. Israeli air industry tried with the Panther. However, none of them can VTOL in windy weather. The wind will always win. Even in light wind, their fixed wing will become a sail, and it will be impossible to VTOL or to hover. In Colugo, we are developing flight control system which enable drones to fly with loose wing, absolutely free wing that can tilt 360 degrees. While flying, loose wing will produce the same lift as a fixed wing, and while hover, loose wing will not affect its stabilities. The ability to stabilize a loose wing, it is a game changer in every aviation terms. It is obviously that with our system, there is many uses for our system, civilian and military, such as HLS, inspection, monitoring. Our system is lightweight, can be folded into backpack and deployed in a rush terrain. Also, we are believe, like Amazon, that one day drones will bring your goods for your front door. But today, Amazon can fly only 30 kilometers. What we have here is an autonomous system. No man in the loop. Easy to operate, long range, long distance, 24/7 standby readiness. We have navigation and detection sensor on board, powered by third eye. And Colugo is the best of breed. We can carry a variety of payload for a variety of mission. With 2 grants from the Israeli Chief of Science and Horizon 2020, we design, we build, we prove the concept, and we filed 3 patents. And today we are taking part in an autonomous border patrol pilot project with the Israeli Ministry of Defense, and will supply unit system for some special units. This is a great opportunity to say thank you for the team, Natan, Nimrod, Guy, Igal, my partner and a good friend, Amit. And now let's see Colugo fly. Now you can see from hover mode to fly mode in a blink of an eye. No tail, and it's still absolutely stabilized. Thank you very much.
So you win for the best music. Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Gil Perry, CEO of DID, and we combat terrorism by protecting photos from face recognition technologies. Why are people so concerned about biometric databases which governments store? Take, for example, the concerns about the biometric database of the government of Israel. In the following minutes, I'm going to explain to you about the new reality we're facing, why these concerns are justified, and how DID is going to protect us all. In today's reality, face recognition is everywhere, and all one's need in order to identify and track us is a photo of our face. That is because our photos contain biometric data. Now think about the biometric database of Israel or the US in the wrong hands. The consequences are disastrous. Every terrorist will be able to track and identify us wherever we go. Now let me explain. Face recognition have made our faces become our identifiers. For example, in China, they use face recognition to rank the citizens' behavior. In Russia, it is used to arrest opponents in protests. And there is even an app which enables anyone to identify a random stranger in the street using a camera and photos from social networks. That is because our photos contain biometric data, and that's why our photos must be protected, because unlike passwords, you can't change your face. Biometric databases are a high-quality target for hackers. For example, just 5 months ago, the biometric database of India got breached, and biometric data of over 1 billion citizens was available online to everyone. And it's not only biometric databases of governments which are being abused. Just recently, we have witnessed how Facebook, which is practically the world's largest biometric database, was abused by Cambridge Analytica. So, when the biometric database of the FBI or the government of Israel will be leaked, and it's just a matter of time until it will, the data will be available to all. And then, every terrorist with a simple camera in his cab or in his shop will be able to track US and Israeli citizens all over the globe. And the same will be done, also can be done, to security personnel holding sensitive homeland security information. DID is protecting against that. We'll protect biometric databases of photos and videos by processing the photos in such a way that they're still useful for the organization, they look the same to the human eye, but face recognition algorithms cannot recognize the subject in the photo. Given a photo, our systems process it and returns its protected vision. Now the photos look the same to you, but machines think these are two different people. This is Microsoft Cognitive saying the two photos belong to different people. And using our right protected photo, no one will be able to track or identify you. We're using the most advanced image processing and deep learning techniques. We're using morphological, geometrical, and distance transformations. We're also using GANs attacks, generative adversarial network attacks, in order to create adversarial examples, adversarial noise. Our systems do the best changes to the pixels of the image, the best changes in terms of fooling face recognition algorithms, maintaining similarity to the human eye, and making it hard for deep learning, for machines to overcome our protection. While serving in the Israeli Special Forces in intelligence corps, we couldn't share our photos because of security reasons. And today, everyone must deal with this problem. Our team consists of the top computer vision and deep learning experts, and they all hold PhD and master degrees. DID was incorporated in January 17. We are alumni of the 8200 and Y Combinator accelerators. We have raised our seed round led by Pitango and joined by Y Combinator and Tier 1 US VCs. We have also filed 2 patents. So, when this sensitive data will get to the hands of terrorists, it will already be too late. Now is the time to protect it, and DID is here to make sure it happens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
At least you went for the best first name.
So which one goes first? Okay. So, hello everybody, and thank you for being here, and what wonderful companies we've heard already. And my name is Gideon Droria, and I'm the CEO of FinCom. And when I go to Starbucks, and it'll be nice if I'll get this right, and I order coffee, every time they write my name wrongly. I mean, I spell it G-I-D-I. They spell it G-I-D-D-Y. So it's not a big issue at Starbucks. It is a big issue when you don't recognize terrorist names across your databases. So before we saw a picture of the Boston bombers, and that was after. What would have happened if we would have stopped it before? The US intelligence forces received actual notice and the names of the 2 Boston bombers. They knew who they were, but the misspelling, the transliteration from Russian to English, they couldn't find it. It was a big mishap, talked about in Congress and pretty much well known. So, we've developed a unique technology based on artificial intelligence and advanced mathematics, specifically in the area of phonetics, that we know how to match names across various different databases, even if they're spelled differently, and more importantly, even in different languages. So, we're using a multi-dimensional process. We're turning every name into our proprietary phonetic fingerprint. So if you write Giddy, G-I-D-D-Y, or G-I-D-I, or Gimel Yud Daled Yud, I'll still hear the same thing. And that is what we turn into a mathematical, phonetical algorithm. Then we could match apples to apples. So, what are we using this for? Think about it. What does everybody around have? Databases. And we need to search these databases extremely fast and accurately. That will help us prevent terrorism. One of the most important things is to stop the flow of money. Financial crime, anti-money laundering. It's all about finding the payer and the beneficiary. Not only on $10,000 and $100,000, but also on the $100. All e-commerce, all transactions need to be verified, but there's no technology out there. And we know this because $300 billion in fines have been allocated to all the banks around the world in the last decade alone. It's a huge sum. Yet, all these great companies like LexisNexis, Thomson Reuters, Dow Jones, Bloomberg, don't have a technology. We know this because they're now working with us. And this is one of the most important things. E-commerce. E-commerce is a simple tool. Gambling is a simple tool to pay operations of terrorist cells. And how is this done? Well, there's actual evidence. In Hamburg and in London, 2 cells were receiving actual cell phones on a monthly basis, taking those cell phones downstairs, selling them at half price, and they had thousands of euros per month to operate. That's a simple manner and way to operate terrorism, to fund terrorism. But let's look at other things. There's a big initiative in the US and around the world. We want to see your mobile phone. We want to see that database. But you write the data in your phone in your own language. We're the only company in the world that could take over 25 languages and cross-reference them automatically, instantly, and accurately. So if you want to check your cell phone, who are your friends? We want to know who are your friends. We want to know with who you're talking. We're the guys that could answer that. Social media, same exact issue. Nobody can see social media as we can. It's not enough that we could see your Facebook page. We need to understand who are your friends. And by understanding who are your friends, we'll know who you are. So this is our friend Khaled Mashal. And if I was on another stage, I could do this actually in person and on the fly. But you're going to see a little movie. One of the things that we've learned that international terrorists have wiki pages, which is an issue by itself. We take his name and we copied it. And then we put it into OFAC's sanction list. Just to give you an idea, the US Treasury has invested a lot of money into this technology. And he's Palestinian. And we searched. And regretfully, nothing is found. It's a problem all around the world. It's not only OFAC. Also in the Israeli system, nothing was found. Don't get it wrong. So they invented a fuzzy logic bar, and they found somebody, but it's not him. That's a shame. Now take our system, take the same name, and we'll put it in. Thank you. And again, we'll put Palestinian. And we're running it against many other lists. And we found the exact person. Now, if you pay attention, the spelling mistakes or the spelling variations, how first name in the US and then last name, and in the UK it's last name and then first name. All of these issues, as silly as it sounds, are fundamental. Now, the problem is still here, guys. Just 2 months ago, the Dublin mayor came into Israel even though he was sanctioned not to come into due to a spelling mistake. So, yes, we have great security, but we have to go to the fundamentals and find the people before we could go after them. Thank you so much.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Noah Ziel, and I'm here to speak to you today about cellular devices, something we all think we know very well. I assume everyone here has a cell phone, at least one, and you might even have an antivirus installed. But even if you do, your phone can still be hacked, tracked, and eavesdropped. Okay. There are over 9 billion cellular connections in the world today. But all of these cellular connections are under risk. For example, this is an IMSI catcher. It creates a fake cell tower. Governments, criminals, and private investigators use these devices to get your device identity, your International Mobile Subscriber ID. Then they can listen in on your calls, your texts, and your data. They cost as little as $700 and up to $400,000 or more. So our cell phones are being used in terror and in warfare. During the Second Lebanon War, Hezbollah placed fake cell towers across the Israeli border to track and listen in on Israeli soldiers' cell phones. And just this month, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security revealed that there are fake cell towers all over Washington, D.C. and near the White House. But the best use of cellular attacks is against prime targets. This is General Thomas, one of the highest-ranking officials in the U.S. military. Let's assume a group of terrorists want to hack his phone. A quick Google search shows us he's based out of Tampa, Florida. Now remember, terrorists have time. Step 1, get his mobile phone number. Query the network for all numbers that travel between Tampa, Florida and Washington, D.C. And watch the news to see when General Thomas is in the White House for a meeting. With some patience, they narrow the list down to just a few numbers. Step 2, get his identity, the International Mobile Subscriber ID. Sit in a park or cafe near a government building where General Thomas might come in for a meeting and wait with an open fake cell tower until the right number comes by. Then they can even ping his location with a silent SMS to make sure it's him. From here on out, the sky's the limit to what can be learned from his phone and done to him, his family, or to the US government. And in case you're very concerned that I've just taught you all how to hack cell phones, trust me, it's fine. Google's taught you first. But I'm here to tell you today that this scenario can stop being a reality. All of these attacks and more can be blocked. First point, provides a cellular network-based solution to protect against all attacks. All mobile phones and all cellular IoT devices can be protected without any software or hardware on the device. We make this magic happen by partnering with cellular carriers. But why is it that mobile networks can be hacked? Well, our devices need to communicate with each other, the network, or the internet. And that means that operators must work by standards that create an open network architecture. And then fake cell towers can be used, location tracking, silent SMS, flash SMS, and so much more. FirstPoint creates a secured overlay on the network elements through which our users' traffic is routed. We protect from all attack types, from any entry point, the device, or the network. And most importantly, we provide the world's only protection against fake cell towers. The benefits of our cellular network-based solution are unparalleled. Comprehensive protection against all attacks, enhanced by per-device profiling to identify data leakage, and tools for deception of the hacker. Agnostic. Anything with a SIM or an eSIM can be protected. Your old Nokia or your latest iPhone, 2G to 5G networks. And transparent. There's nothing on the device. That means no slowdowns and no impact on user experience. All of this in the hand of the Chief Information Security Officer. The FirstPoint team is led by a world-class team of cyber and telecom experts, founded by Professor Dror Fixler, CEO, and Adam Weinberg, CTO. We've talked until now about mobile phones, but by 2022, there will be 18 billion devices, Internet of Things devices, connected to the network in smart cities, smart homes, payment terminals, energy, and more. The same security vulnerabilities exist and even more. FirstPoint's partnering with Cellcom, Israel's largest cellular carrier, and our system has been active on their live networks since early 2017. Our first solution for mobile phones against IMSI catchers, man-in-the-middle protection, is soon to be released in beta. Full solution to follow shortly after, and our next product will be for IoT devices. Early registration is open for Cellcom customers, and we're looking to expand globally this year. To reiterate, this is not fiction. FirstPoint Alpha users have been roaming the world, and we've identified and blocked over 15 fake cell towers in Latin America, Africa, Asia, and Europe. So, just like all of us have cell phones, so do all of our soldiers at home and away. Let's protect our troops, our generals, our cities, and our lives. Let's protect our endpoints with FirstPoint. Thank you.
Good morning. So I was told to smile, but so I'm able to smile, but now I have to remember still what I want to talk about. So my name is Ron Gaffney. I'm the CEO of Envisol. I would like to present to you the SkySnapper. The SkySnapper is a device meant to retrieve objects that cannot hook themselves onto a cable or a rope from a vertical approach. The wrong way. Sorry. So the SkySnapper was developed for an application I cannot really discuss with you today. However, once we started to play with it and develop it, we realized it might be used for several other applications, military and civilian. In order to show you just a little bit about how it can really make a change, I would like to go through 3 operational showcases where hopefully you can see how it makes a change. The first one would be remote sensors retrieval. So in limited conflicts, remote sensors are vastly used for gaining intelligence and civilians. Those sensors would occasionally need maintenance, which is currently done manually by troops on the ground. Therefore, they are exposed to risks. So let's imagine such a sensor is located next to an Afghan village, which is crowded with enemies. It is hidden on the side of the mountain, of course, viewing the village, and as sometimes it happens, the battery runs low. So, a group of special forces troops are making their way in order to retrieve the sensor. As they are at the vicinity of the sensor, they are spotted by a local shepherd, and the village is waking up. Underground operations. Underground operations poses real challenges to armies around the globe, but not only to armies. Also, federals are also mitigating with that, for instance, in the Mexican and US border. So let's assume the FBI is tipped of such a network of tunnels used for weapons and narcotics smuggling. And one of the shafts is located at a next-by warehouse, at a local warehouse. Since the shaft is really deep and we don't know whether the enemy is down there, a team is set to investigate using a robot which would be lowered to the tunnels and scout around, providing some intelligence. The robot is doing its job, and once it's done, it's back to the starting point, but the team has no means to attach to it in order to retrieve it and gain all the data. A SWAT sniper. Let's assume that in a Western Europe capital, ISIS group has taken hostages in a local store. The local SWAT is now deploying snipers all around, and one of the snipers has found a key spot. He is making his way to his key spot, and he would like to climb up to the building, but using his heavy equipment poses a safety threat, because it's very cumbersome to climb with it. So now he has a dilemma what to do. I'd like now to stop and pause for a second with the showcases and introduce to you the Sky Snapper, which we foresee is a real operational enabler. We didn't make it, so hopefully you'll tilt your head a little bit to see it, but later on, I promise you, I will have a demo. So the Sky Snapper is operating in 3 steps. The first one would be homing to the target. It is built of 2 components. The first one would be attached to the object we want to lift. Keep in mind, the object cannot attach itself. Therefore, this one is waiting. And, then the second component would be attached to the rope or cable that we are using. The first step would be then to home onto the object. The second one to snap with the use of a mechanical mechanism. And the third one, of course, would be to pull it up. So here we see the homing, the snapping, and the lift up. The nice thing is that there is no correlation between the magnetic field and the magnetic force, or therefore the magnet and the mechanism. Therefore, you can carry any load that you want with a small magnet that is easy to handle. Then let's get back to the scenarios. So, with the use of the Sky Snapper, we can simply send a drone to retrieve the sensor. Keep in mind, if you're using a network of sensors, you can alternate places by simply carrying them from one place to another, not only a single sensor at a single village. As for the underground world, then with the use of the Sky Snapper, the agents can easily pick up the robot back to home and download all the data and get a clear picture of what's going on underground. As for the third, the sniper that we've left in the Western capital, with the use of the Sky Snapper, he can simply offload his rucksack next to the building, climb up safely, and, of course, retrieve the pack with the use of a rope. Hopefully, all missions are accomplished. I'd like to show you now a quick demo. Of course, I cannot really run the drone, so I'll have to hold it in my hand. Let's assume it's hovering just to the vicinity of the sensor. It gets there, it clicks in, and then it pulls it up. Same can go for robots or any other means, of course, that we would like to use. How much time? Time's up. Okay. So, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it.
It's a riveting insider's view of what both Hamas and Israel say was a daring, deadly attack on Israeli forces in broad daylight. In the video that aired on Hamas's Al-Aqsa TV, the attackers emerged from a primitive tunnel dug from Gaza into Israel. They approached the Israeli outpost, filming every step, then fire on one soldier and then another.
One of the major threats Israel is facing in Gaza Strip are smuggling and terror attack tunnels. The US-Mexico border is a fertile ground for drug smuggling, gang warfare, and innocent murders. It is clear that smuggling and terror attack tunnels are the most challenging, unsolved, and mutual threats to Israel and the US. My name is Rafael Moisa. I'm co-founder and CEO of Ibex Technologies, a leading engineering firm in Israel. In the next minutes, I'll present powerful, unique, and cost-effective technology for inspection of long-distance tunnels that can save lives. In order to perform inspection for long tunnels, the operational needs are obviously very clear. We need long-distance deployment capability, superior mobility, high communication capabilities, and we want to keep it simple and cost-effective. The technologies that are available today and being used are mainly based on robots. These robots have limitations. They have distance limitation, mobility limitation, communication limitation, especially for underground missions. And these robots have high operational costs. It is clear that there is a serious gap between the needs and the actual technologies available. Therefore, those limitations brings us to that situation. A soldier is entering a terror attack tunnel to perform the scan and the inspection. Is this the only real efficient way by using our soldiers? I truly believe not. By using RoboSleeve instead, we can reduce the risk and save our soldiers' life. How does it work? What is RoboSleeve? Well, in order to answer this question, let's first understand the inversion sleeve mechanism. Basically, it's a sleeve that deploys by inverting itself from center to out. That's all. No any sophisticated technologies, no brain. What we succeeded is to attach to the front end a robotic head module that deploys with the front end, but most important, it's a platform. It's a platform to install camera, sensors, communication, and all controlled from distance. Our first innovative application for that technology is on our medical device. It's not functioning. It's on our medical device, a single-use, self-propelled colonoscope for early detection of colon cancer. That same innovation was then scaled up to perform our HLS application. Sorry. Never mind. RoboSleeve. RoboSleeve has three main modules. The first module is the robotic head, which carries the camera and the sensors. The second module is the propulsion. It's the inversion sleeve mechanism and the control unit. The robotic head module is inserted into the confined space, controlled by distance by the control unit via the fiber optic cable and utilized for inspection of hundreds of meters. As mentioned before, it's a platform. It's a platform that can be customized for drilling, for cutting, for using a variety of sensors, and more. Our current status, we have a patent pending right now. We are on PCT phase. fully functional proof of concept with successful field test. IDF is being testing our system, and we've just started to look for strategic partners in order to implement and commercialize our technology. Our team members and the company behind. So RoboSleeve is a cutting-edge proprietary technology with substantial investment in R&D and know-how. The team members are leading experts. Each one unfolds the best talent within his discipline, brings years of experience to the table. I'd like to summarize by saying, no boots underground. Let RoboSleeve do the job instead. It can save our soldiers and civilians' life. Thank you.
Good morning. What would you say if I told you that in order to take down the power supply for a major US city, all you have to do is change this standard mouse with this manipulated mouse that has a hardware implant in it that costs between $5 to $10 US? What would you say if I told you that in order to steal millions of dollars from US banks or from other data centers in the world, all you have to do is use this device, a network implant that goes undetected by all existing network security products? My name is Benzi, and I'm co-founder for Sepio System. Sepio System provides protection against manipulated hardware and manipulated firmware that are usually introduced to organizations either through internal abuser or supply chain attacks. Some of you might be rightfully skeptical, saying, what about all those cybersecurity products out there? Then they are doing a very good job, but they're dealing with a lot of searching under the lamp. That means endpoint security deals mainly with the endpoint environment, looking for sometimes manipulated device on the device control domain. Intrusion detection and NAC solutions look for network impairments, but the attackers are very well aware of that. So they know in some cases the attackers are part of our community. They participate in our forums. They went to the same schools that we went to. So they keep themselves in the dark. So that means that if you close the door, they'll come through the window. And if you close the window, they'll come through the sewage. In our case, the sewage is the physical layer. All of these solutions cannot detect attacks that appear and are activated in the physical layer. So all these pushbacks that we sometimes get, or various misconceptions about the various functionality, are all irrelevant when you're talking about physical layer attack. Sepio Prime is the only solution that provides physical layer detection. Currently, we do it in two main domains. One is the USB domain, and the other is the network infrastructure domain. On these two domains, we provide protection against manipulated rogue devices, invisible network devices, and manipulated firmware. All these functionalities are being introduced again by adversaries that penetrate with their device into the organization or through the supply chain. How does it work? So starting with the USB, so normally this is what your network security product or your endpoint security product will see, a standard looking PC connected to a standard keyboard and mouse. When you hook up our solution, which runs an algorithm that is partly based on fingerprinting, partly based on ML technology, what you actually see that these devices can include a human interface device that impersonates, in this case, as a keyboard. So we provide analysis on three aspects: the hardware, the interfaces, and the behavioral of this HID device. And the user obviously gets a notification, in this case, for a rubber ducky, which is, again, a $45 US device. When you look into the network infrastructure, so again, all the network monitoring solutions see the network that is completely operational and there's nothing in it, but actually what's in it is a transparent device that uses a very special mode in some of the devices that can be bought in the open market. You don't have to go to the deep net for that. You don't have to run Tor browser or stuff like that. You can buy some of those in Amazon, and then you go into a publicly open GitHub, and you see that this device operates in a mode called VCM, which is virtual cable mode. So from the network monitoring point of view, all the network sees is this straight line that goes between the victim's machine and the network infrastructure. But what actually happens is that all the traffic from that victim's machine actually goes to a switchboard that is operated by the attacker, and then they can do full man-in-the-middle attack, SMB attacks, and harvest credentials from those machines. Our solution, again, taps into the existing network infrastructure. We pull out all the low-level physical layer information, so it could be physical registers, file registers, scripts, images, the runtime memory maps of those devices. We'll grind everything together and provide the user with a distinctive indication where we found those transparent or macless devices. So what do terrorists need? So obviously they need funding, and in that case, hasting into a SWIFT system, or even more locally, running an ATM attack, which can provide a local source of income for those terrorists. Harm lucrative targets, so in that sense, power, transportation, and water seems to be a very lucrative target, and they want a way to get away with it, so they could run again and again those tools. So using manipulated hardware or manipulated firmware actually complies with those requirements. This is an actual picture taken from a power grid attack using manipulated keyboard. You see here a Raspberry Pi being set up on the production floor, and again, completely invisible to all existing tools out there. Who's behind Sepio Systems? So with more than 200 years of aggregated experience, our leadership, binational leadership team, led by Mr. Tamir Pad, who is the former director for the Israel Mossad, Bob Bigman and Jeff Hancock from the CIA and DOD. We bring a lot of know-how and expertise in detecting raw devices, in-depth network knowledge, and understanding of how rogue device deployments works. So to summarize, we're the only company that provides physical layer detection. We have a proven track record. We have a highly dedicated team with 3 pending patents for our technology, and we have already globally spread T1 paying customers. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Asaf, and I'm going to speak about behavioral understanding, which is the state of the art in video analytics for video surveillance. Few facts about video surveillance. Billions of dollars were invested in video surveillance for public safety, security, and combating terrorism for the past years. However, never mind. However, while there are hundreds of millions of cameras spread out there, only a very small fraction is actually used any kind of video analytics technology. And the main reason is that from all of those sources, it is very hard to detect the event of interest. What is really, really interesting? For example, it is one thing to be able to recognize that there are people in the room, but it's totally different thing to be able to tell what those people are actually doing. And putting humans in front of all those screens, it's mainly impractical task. So in this site, we have developed a very unique video understanding technology, a technology that understands video content in a very similar way to how humans understand content, and by that, we are capable to detect the event of interest, which are later transformed to actionable insights. What is video understanding is all about? It's about understanding the object and context behavior. And let's see some examples. Don't know. Okay. So here we have a surveillance camera that is watching some kind of an intersection. And while existing analytics system will be able to tell you that there are people in the view of the camera and probably a car, VSAT will be able to tell you, thank you, that an event like people fighting is actually going on. This is the event of interest. This is what is interesting. And as you can see also, in the second example, in this shopping mall, again, we have people in the view, but the actually interesting event is the people fighting event. Okay. Okay. So why an event like people fighting, what you have seen, is actually so innovative, so difficult to recognize? First, it is very hard to tell what is going on from looking at the single image, like the two images that you see here on the left. It is very hard to tell if those people are hugging, fighting, or falling. Second, events by nature are very, very diverse. For example, people are fighting in so many ways. Plus, there are very similar other events that can confuse the system and may look like as a people fighting, like people talking, people hugging, people dancing. Therefore, it will be an impossible task to try to program or build those events and trying to actually build them from the bottom up for a machine. So in VSite, we have actually invented an holistic analytic engine. This engine actually learns by video clips, not images. And this engine creates from a top to bottom approach a unique signature that encapsulates everything that actually defines those events. And it knows how to find those events the next time that it will see it. So while existing technologies are based on static object classification, VSite actually take it to the next level. We'll be able to recognize scenes, events, action, and be contextual aware. And let's see two more examples to get to the bottom of that. Okay, so I didn't touch it. Okay, so here again, we have a car that is driving on the road. But you can see that the interesting event, it's not the car driving, but the car being actually collided, the car accident. And again, it's very difficult to recognize such an event because you cannot conclude that cars are being collided from looking at the single image. And another example. Here. Thank you. Here again, we have a camera that is watching some kind of a street. But while existing technology will be able to tell you that there are people or there is a crowd, we're able to tell you what those people are doing and how the crowd is behaving. And you can see on the right corner on the screen that there is a scene that was recognized as riot. So to summarize, VSite is developing the state-of-the-art video analytics system, which are called behavioral recognition, behavioral understanding systems. We currently operate in the market of security and surveillance and focus on verticals like safe and smart cities, transportation hubs and shared mobilities, and safe and smart businesses. Few words about the team. We are a team of 4 founders working together since 2006. This is the 3rd company that we are building, and for me, it's my 2nd role as a CEO. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thanks to all the startups. I think everybody can agree that we're quite a bunch. It's now time for coffee. Coffee will be outside in the lobby, the downstairs lobby here. I'll just say a word that afterwards, at lunchtime, all of these finalists, plus a whole lot of other exciting technologies, are demonstrating and exhibiting in the upstairs lobby where you first registered. So feel free to approach the finalists for anything that they couldn't tell us since we were cutting them each off at 6 minutes. Okay, now please try to be back here as promptly as possible at 11:20. Thanks.